This looks looking a lot like looks like a little Firepunky. There you go.
Our fab guy, I don't know if I want to see that here.
Yeah, you're fine.
Our fab guy, literally, I bought the car, set the engine and trans in, and then I was like, I ordered a turbo. We're doing a turbo kit, and he's like, okay. So we literally did the turbo kit and then built the car around the turbo kit, and I'm like, it sucked. And I was up.
This is where this is gonna go. You figure else everything else out.
Yes.
Okay.
Literally, that's how it went.
Alright, welcome back to the shop. Today we're doing a Fox body race car, no prep car. Check to make sure our rod ends are the same length. And he's gonna need a bump steer kit. He doesn't have one, but this is a preliminary setup, as this car is a fresh build. So at least we'll be able to do some testing. Let's lengthen this guy. Till we're even, and then we'll lengthen them both. And where the steering wheel lands, for now. Feels pretty centered. So I want my rack to be square in the chassis, so I'm working on that first. It's going to be pretty close to there. That squares my rack, so I need to adjust that side. This side's actually pretty close. Just a smidge. So that side's good. So now my rack is square and my tie rod ends are adjusted for where the rest of it's at, which gets me square. My initial reading, my initial comp, it was towed in quite a bit, like 2 degrees, so my initial comp's compromised. Now that I have the tow set, I can do a quick adjustment to the rear to square it up, and then I will recomp the system, and I'll probably throw as much caster into it before I recomp it, but that's the first step. And then it's a recomp, and then you do it again. Pretty close, really. Nice build, by the way. You guys basically built this car around that turbo. Turbo 400. Looks like Vikings front and rear. Aerospace brakes, racecraft adjustable rear links, performance fabricated housings, Vikings in the rear, good brakes, nice, rear mounted cooling, rear mounted trans cooler, get all the weight you can over the back side of the car. Nice work, guys. It's coming along nicely for a fresh build. Man, I wish I could weld that well. This is a good example of what you need to do for the adjustable struts. You got the round strut hole. For maximum caster and camber, this really needs to be opened up in and over. Basically it needs to be oblong towards the back and then back towards the side, and that gives you the room to run this shaft through in this point over here, which will give you maximum camber, maximum caster, and it needs it on both sides. You can see here we can gain a whole bunch of caster by opening up this top of this tower. And you also have to compensate for this back side part of the tower. Sometimes the strut will hit that, so sometimes you have to open that up as well. Which they've already opened up the whole inside part of it, and they've got it braced with the roll bar, so it should be fine. Probably window back into here. So I'll see if they want me to do that or if they want to do that. But let's go on to other things and see what other things we can come up with for them to make improvements on, and get this thing so that they can do baseline tuning and setup. .01 thrust, I think that'll be good enough. Pinion angle looks good at 3 degrees, give or take a tenth, which is pretty solid. Got the back end squared up. Want to put more caster into it, but they're going to need to make some adjustments to the strut towers for that. I've got the rack squared, so they'll have to figure out their steering wheel center from there. I can't put any more caster into it, and I can't put any more camber into it until the strut towers are adjusted. Or I take the lower arms apart a bunch of times, but taking the lower arms apart a bunch of times is futile until we get the tops set up to where we can set those. So I'm not going to do that. I'm going to ask them to set their lower heims evenly, because I'm getting different measurements on the lower control arms for where the heims are at. Whenever you have adjustable arms, you want to make sure they're adjusted evenly from side to side when you set up the car. Alright, so these guys are actually looking to test tonight. So I'm going to throw a little more caster in the passengers, lower. This thing tows out 8 degrees on full lift, so it's going to be spicy without a bump steer kit. We might see if we can get a bump steer kit here for it. I don't know if that's going to happen or not. Let me add some caster to it real quick. So on lift, this thing goes out like the Grand Canyon, 8 degrees. 4 and 4 essentially, so that's going to need a bump steer kit. No question at all that I need a bump steer kit. Alright, let's add some caster, which means lengthening my rear arm here. Bada fingers. Oh, come on. So we made that adjustment. We need to re-sweep caster. Honestly, we need to recomp the whole car anyway. Are you gonna run and get that kit?
Well, Jag still isn't open yet.
Oh, well, is that?
The question is whether or not it's at the warehouse or it's at 11th Avenue. Either way, it's an hour. So it's up to you. If you want them to go get it today, if you want to take this thing off.
It'd be safer for them to do it, because 8 degrees out is horrible. Yeah. It's going to be a horrible test and tune.
You want to pull this off the rack, get this Acura on there?
Let me get the caster set, and then we can switch the once I get the caster on the lower control arm set, I think we'll be good. And then
Have them go get that. We'll
have
swap
them go
that
get
after
that.
on.
I'll do the other alignment, and then we can pull this one back in.
Okay.
I'm cool with that.
Okay.
That makes everybody happy.
Yep.
Still have enough thread engagement that's over one diameter of the shank. I don't want to go out any more than that. I want to have that strength of the thread engagement. So we'll leave it at that. We'll make the other side match. Max what we can achieve on this side. Come on, get in your hole. My caster's better. I have 3 degrees within 2/10. So, not too bad. Camber got a little wonky on me. That's probably due to body weight changing it. So, I guess I can get that glare off the screen. There you go. So body weight in the passenger seat went from 1/10 cross camber to 3/4 cross camber. But these cars honestly don't care about camber. They care more about caster. Caster being within 2/10 is pretty good. I'm at the end of my adjustment on this side, and I think I could probably go one more turn on this side, so we'll do that real quick. So this has got TMZ Motorsports components on it, which are pretty good stuff. I like their adjustability. You can see the relationship between the ball joint and the tie rod end joint in comparison to the inner lower control arm joint and the inner tie rod end joint. You can see those two are off by just a little bit. These two are off by a lot, which means these are way out of parallel. So the bump steer kit's going to replace this outer tie rod end and allow us to get our position in parallel with the lower control arm. It's going to require a pretty long one on this one. The guys are on their way over to get a kit from Jegs because they show one in stock. In the meantime, I'm going to make one more turn on the caster here to try to bring my caster here up to meet my 3.2, which I think one turn will probably get me within 1/10 or dead on. And then we'll be done setting the base adjustments on this with body weight in the car, and then we'll put the bump steer kit on when they get back with it. times are left hand, the tie rod ends are right hand, which allows us to turnbuckle. So I usually turn them in as far as I can and then get even displacement, keeping a nice amount of thread engagement. I always want to have at least the diameter of the shank. I want to have at least that much thread depth. I usually shoot for twice that. The side with the stripe on it is the left-hand thread side. And yes, I put a little oil on them so that I don't have any problems with galling. I've had that happen. It's really annoying. Got hot today, boys. I'm going to put all my shims on this. And it may still not be enough, but it'll be probably 4 or 5 degrees better than what it was. I'm going to take this all the way in until it stops. Just coming up. Still not going to be enough. It's going to need to be much longer than that. So these are not going on far enough for me to get the toe where I need it to be, so I'm going to have to cut the ends of the rack off most likely. Yeah. Everything's got to be a problem these days. Alright, so I'm going to cut probably an inch and a half off of this tie rod end. And about the same off of this tie rod end to make the QA1 fit end links work. I don't believe they're going to be long enough to do what they need to do. I believe they need to be about 2 inches longer. So we need to talk to QA1 and see if they can start making one that's longer for these drag race cars, because we're using every bit of 4 to 5 inches to get from here and down to here, because we want to be these racks are in such tight alignment with the lower joint, and the tie rod end is so high, it's a huge difference, and it causes negative toe out on turns, and it's detrimental to going fast. Let me cut these off real quick. See my angle, my tie rod end is a lot better with the joint. And the joint, you're not looking at the arm, you're actually going to the joint, which the joint is higher than the arm. But this is the maximum I can adjust this with still having a small shim that allows for a little extra rotation. You don't want to have the nut right against the heim joint because it'll bind. But I know we made an improvement. I'm not sure we got all of it, but let's throw it up in the air and see what it looks like. So we're still towing out. We're towed out a degree. It's about the limit of our travel. That's lifting the tire. So now we're 1915, so 3.5 degrees towed out compared to 8 before. So it's better, but these need to be probably at least an inch longer for us to really get it to that optimal point. But I'm going to go ahead and lock it down at this spot because that's all we got. And then I want to be into my lock nut. May be able to put this thin shim on top yet, so we'll go ahead and do that. Well, no, I can't use it on top because I won't be able to have a shim. shim for clearance on the Heim. No, I can't do that because I don't have any contact with my nylock, so. That is max for this kit. Our final with this setup is under 3 degrees toe out on lift, which is way better than the -8 degrees it had on lift before. Showing -1.6 and -1.2. My tire ends measure pretty close to identical, so that's good. I wonder if that difference is this rod end on the front has turned out more than that, so that might be why there's 4/10 of a difference. But if we're talking about 4/10 of a degree, it's really kind of splitting hairs at that point. But like I said, we're under 3 degrees toe out on lift now, which is way better than the -8. So we'll take it. That's going to be his preliminary setup, so he can go do some diagnostic runs tonight. With that, thanks for watching. Click like, subscribe, leave us a comment below. Have a great day. Stay safe out there. The fastest time between two distances is a straight line. So try and do it that way. Lock this thing down. It's getting better. It's not there yet, but it's getting better.